and it just stopped. Welcome to Evilive.
I think it's working.
Live media commentary show that answers the question, can anyone resist slow corruption? Subscribe if you're new to the channel, because today we're reviewing The Lord of the Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 5, Halls of Stone.
Yay.
All right. This is the first episode that you and I have been on the conversation together with on Season 2, and we're like halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So I'm wildly curious. How do you feel about this?
I fucking hate this.
Oh my God.
It is so absolutely terrible. All right, I got to episode 3. So the reason why I didn't get on, people, is I have a very, very finite amount of time to be able to watch television. So you put almost 4 hours worth of content in front of me right out the gate. That shit is not happening. So it took me a little bit of time to get caught up, and unfortunately I did the cardinal mistake of reading the Silmarillion like a month ago. Oof. Now, here's the thing. If you want to appreciate this, do not read the books. That sounds like I'm making a joke. I am not. The thing is, the first season, I didn't like it until the end, but the end made the rest of the season worth it. Like, the one thing that we kept saying, oh, this fucking happens. This is bullshit. I hate this. This is dumb. Better not happen. And it happens. And we're both like, yeah! I hadn't read the Silmarillion for a couple of years at that point. Yeah. And yeah, with this, I'm like excited for the second season for the most part. So I read it. My biggest beef with this, other than the fact that the acting's terrible and it's traditional like YouTube editing, so it's like 5-second scenes. My biggest problem with it is we were given the idea that this was going to be from unpublished Tolkien, and we were going to get the Second Age, which really isn't. It's talked about, but it's talked about in small snippets or snippets that were turned into novels, like The Children of Húrin, stuff like that. So I'm going to it in that end. And then I read this shit, and this entire series canceled out all canonical texts written by J.R.R. Tolkien himself. Wait, later. What? Yeah. Sauron? This isn't how Sauron is at all. Like, Sauron ending, like, okay, the form that we're seeing him in right now is great.
The Anatar form or the...
Yeah, period. Period. The fact that we are seeing Sauron as a human / elf / some sort of non-giant fucking Balrog with armor type being is bullshit. Because when the lands fell and it became Mordor, and Mount Doom erupted and all that shit, that was right after Sauron's physical form fell, and he was no longer able to create a physical form like that. So the end of the first season, when he's just Halbrand fucking walking in there, that's bullshit. Now, when they started the season, I did kind of like that. Like, you get the fall of him and all that shit. That's a little bit closer to canonical.
Confused the fuck out of me.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so yeah, sorry guys, you're gonna get my recap of the first couple of episodes. Yeah, I was so fucking confused because I'm watching it and it's the previously on. I didn't know when the previously on ended and the show started. Yeah. And it wasn't until I was probably about 30 minutes in that I'm like, I don't think I'm watching the previously on anymore. Yeah, so I mean, I've got my problems with it, but last night I was able to get high enough to separate my critical thinking from what I was watching. Right. And really, if I don't think of this as a Lord of the Rings property, if I just look at this as any other random fantasy shit, it's not that bad. Galadriel is fucking terrible.
I have a hard time with her.
I hate her portrayal. I hate the actor. Yeah. And she shouldn't be in it, period. Like, Galadriel is one of the most badass characters that's ever existed in fantasy.
Yeah, and then portrayed on screen for the first time by Cate Blanchett. Of all immortal beings of goodness, like, you can't outdo Cate Blanchett with fucking Saint Maud actresses.
Not. Well, and especially, like, the level of detail they gave her, like, fucking Peter Jackson has special lighting on her so that the lights of the fucking trees still show in her eyes. And this is the kind of shit you don't see unless you have a giant fucking TV and the 4K version and a proper 4K player. It's these minute details that show how much they love the property. And then we get this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the next episode we're going to talk about, I was able to appreciate a little bit more. But up until this episode, I'm still just like, why am I fucking watching this? This is so bad. Whatever. It's not The Acolyte. It's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not far, but it's not that bad. Like, that was horrible.
Yeah, at least there's a narrative here that I can follow.
Yeah. So for me, never having read the Silmarillion, I've never read Lord of the Rings. I've never read The Hobbit. I've seen.
Oh wait, I knew that.
I've seen the original cartoon. I've seen the films. I've never actually read the literature, which is weird because I love fantasy, so I don't know why I haven't. My wife has. I own the books. I just haven't done it.
Dude.
But just watching this second season, the first 4 episodes, the only redeeming part of the first 4 episodes was the Barrow-wights in the 4th episode. And I literally texted you as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, fuck, this is awesome. Because dead things, Mikey, dead things. I love fucking monsters and zombies and give me horror property stuff. And I love it. And Tolkien has some great horror in it.
Some of the best. Like,
no joke.
He pretty much created black metal, for fuck's sake.
I could see
so like, Tolkien fucking knew horror. And yeah, like the Barrow-wights were fucking great. I feel like they were kind of wasted because it was such a short scene and such
and it was like
rapid cuts
between Galadriel and Elrond. This dude, I made mental gymnastics to accept him in the first season, but I can't take him in this one.
I can't do either of them as Elrond or Galadriel.
Yeah,
like they're terrible. Like everybody else is okay. Like Celebrimbor, I bought. I think there's really, like most of the elves, even with their fucking weird hair, I can accept. But the one that had the beard, that pissed me off because that went against canon. They don't have facial hair. Yeah. So to have an elf just be like, oh yeah, I've got facial hair because I'm special.
Call me Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, I fucking hate that. And it's funny too because, and I'm sorry, we're skipping back to previous episodes, but God damn it, you guys didn't get me until just now. The whole fucking episode, every time Homeboy was on the screen, I'm like, what the fuck did I see him from recently? Like I'm just racking my brain. And then I had to look it up after the episode was over. I was like, oh yeah, that's fucking Homeboy from Interview with the Vampire.
What?
Yeah, that was the dude that usurped. It was Santiago.
What?
Yeah, the fucking bearded elf was Santiago. And I liked him a lot more in Interview with the Vampire than this.
Holy shit.
Right? It blows your fucking mind.
Huh.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that again. I don't remember him at all. I just remember seeing him and going like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I get this short hair. People have different styles. But a beard?
Yeah. No, well, the thing is, and here's my argument with it, is this is the Second Age. This is the point in time where the original beings of the earth, aka the elves and the dwarves, are mortal enemies. That's why it's such a big deal with Durin and Elrond being friends, because that is not supposed to exist. Now, let's pretend that they can grow facial hair. They are going to not grow facial hair solely just because they believe or they can see that the vermin of the earth, aka the dwarves, the fucking people from the ground, like they have facial hair. So why the fuck would they want to look like a dwarf? So it's just that bugged the fuck out of me, man.
Interesting. Yeah, it bugged me for way different. I mean, I guess it's the same reason. It's just it was a strange thing. It was like, why? Like, as the actor, just shave your fucking beard for the scene you're in, dude. Like, it was like 2 scenes. That was it. Just shave your fucking beard.
And one of the scenes was him shaving.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. So this episode.
Okay, so in this episode, I have to say, this is the first time that I made a turn with this series. I immediately went from, like this season specifically, From like, I remember there was elements in the first season that I was like, oh, that's fun. This is so cool. I love the sort of buddy cop thing they got going on, which is totally not what they were meaning to do, but that's sort of our takeaway.
That's how it came across.
But in this one, I was like, oh, this sucks. I'm not connecting with anything. And I saw Saint Maud, and I hate that fucking actress now, the Galadriel actress. And I just can't.
That's Saint Maud?
Yeah, that's the nurse.
Fucking hate that movie. Oh my God, that was a slog to get through.
It ruined me. It completely ruined me.
That makes sense.
In any case,
yeah. Sorry.
Like I got to the point where it's like, I can't review these anymore. Like, it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my life. I can't even do it with my friend because he refuses to watch it or he doesn't have time to watch it. I was like, fuck this show. It's not even worth it. And then I saw this episode. I was like, wait a second. We're getting into Lucifer territory here. This is Lucifer convincing people to do things against their will. And it's showing him telling them that it's their fault for those actions. And I immediately made a turn. I was like, oh, this is great.
That is the thing that we were fucking promised. Like, they fucking tickled our balls. Like, this is what's coming. When they showed us that Sauron was going to be in the series. This is the second age. This is the inception of the rings. Why didn't we get that last season?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's oh man. Yeah, I love that. As much as I fucking hate that character, he's growing on me.
Sauron character.
Just, I mean, every aspect of him, like, I don't like him.
So is the lore accurate? Because I don't know.
No,
so
not at all.
Wasn't he like an assistant to fuck? What's the big bad guy? The guy with the crown.
Morgoth. Melkor.
Wasn't he the assistant of Morgoth?
Yeah, he was one of his Balrogs.
Okay, so then. And is it still the fact that if you kill his mortal form, it takes a while for him to come back, but he always comes back because he's immortal?
Yes, but well, so yes, like the thing is he can, because he's essentially a Maiar. If I'm remembering, there's a whole lot of different fucking whatevers, but
they're like celestial beings.
Exactly. So he's a step below an angel. Okay. So Melkor was Lucifer ultimately. Like he was the highest. He was the first one to sing. He started everything, and then he went down the path that Lucifer went. And when he fell, that's when Sauron was like, all right, well, fuck this shit. I'm going to quit being his little bitch, and I'm going to take over. And that's when he created the massive hulking form that we know of from the movies, as well as like snippets in this. But the problem was, after he lost that form, he didn't have the power to come back as anything other than a wraith or a whisper and all that stuff.
That was the third age, right?
Yeah. So like the shit that we saw in the Peter Jackson movies, I mean, other than the Eye of Sauron, like that doesn't exist in the books, but the idea of him being a non-physical entity, but still can manipulate the world around him, like that's what he is at this point. Okay. So yes, he was there in Celebrimborum's ear to create the rings, but he wasn't physically there. He wasn't a physical being actually working side by side with him and his smiths. He was the devil on his shoulder, creating it. So it's one of those things where you really have to do mental gymnastics to get around it if you're a fucking nerd like me. But it's possible. Because this episode is the one where I started to be like, okay, whatever. It's like, all right, I guess this is how this series is going to be. Because this is the same point last season where it was episode 5. Because the first 4 were like, God, this is terrible. Do we even go on? Right. And then 5 came, 5, 6, 7, and 8 were like, all right, whatever. This is decent. Mm-hmm. And then it was the last 2, so 7 and 8 were like, this is fucking great.
Yeah. So I mean, I do want to like put my cards on the table and say, I don't think any of these episodes thus far have been great. And they certainly don't feel as grandiose as the narrative implies they should feel. Like this is like world-changing shit that's happening. And I don't feel that effect. But part of me sort of excuses that because this is the beginning. You know, this is like him. He's just making the rings for the first time. Like he's manipulating Celebrimbor to make these rings. And then as soon as Durin comes up, he's like, hey, motherfucker, what'd you put in that motherfucking ring? I'm pretty sure you took a piss in the ring, right? Like, just be honest. You peed in the ring, right?
No.
And he's like, no, I didn't do anything. No.
It was your fault.
And then he was talking to Anatar, and he was like, yeah, I can't believe this motherfucker. He told me I was pissing in the ring. He's like, man, we both did. I was holding yours, and you were holding mine. We did it together. And I was like, wait a second. What is going on here? And he was like, you lied to your king in order to make this. So that deceit is the reason why these are corrupted. And my mind just went... Like, yeah.
I was at odds with myself when that happened because it's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. But then it's like, wait a second. I feel like you're reaching here, sir. And then Celebrimbor is like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. I'm like, whatever. I guess if he buys it, I'll fucking buy it for the sake of the story.
I just love the idea that the magic itself is influenced by the actions of those who use it.
Yeah, which, I mean, that just makes fucking sense. That's how magic works.
If you're going to believe in magic, then yes, you certainly, like, that makes logical sense in my worldview. So I love that they added that aspect to it, because it would have been easy for them to be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't do anything wrong. He. But instead he was like, no, you did it, motherfucker. Like, remember that shit you just did? That's why this is fucked up. So now we got to correct it. Now we got to make 9. And he's like, I cannot do it. I will not do it. Be gone.
Yeah, man. He is a fucking ham for sure.
I feel like I'm watching like a 1920s sort of like performance or something. It's so
honestly
over the top.
All of this just reminds me of a soap opera with pointy ears. Like, so much so that's all I kept thinking with this episode and the last episode specifically is if you go beat by beat and like if you were to essentially be able to create sheet music of the points of a soap opera and the highs, the lows, the pacing and all that stuff, and you were to sync it up with this, I feel like it'd be real fucking close.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but that's kind of how it feels to me. It's especially with like the side characters that really don't matter, like the one elf dude that I can never remember his name because frankly I don't give a fuck to remember his name, but the tree elf,
the black elf,
I
can't stand him.
I like anytime
looks like a marine out of fucking Avatar, and I cannot handle it.
Yeah, I'll take your word on that.
At all. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, like him and Galadriel, like every time they're on the screen, that's the kind of acting that I expect to see in a soap opera. And not even a good one, like a fucking telenovela type, anything like that, like a Mexican or Korean type of soap opera.
Korean soap.
Dude, Korean soap operas are a trip. I don't intentionally watch them, but my in-laws do, so I see them from time to time. But yeah, it's they always take me out of it. But when we get the dwarves and like even the Numenorians, like it's like, okay, this is all right.
I don't know. This season, the Numenorians took a turn. Until the latest episode, which we'll review next.
Well, which is another turn, but yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that because I have questions. So ultimately, this is, the dwarves have been gifted their rings, and Durin the fourth or the third is like, look, I'll give the rest of you dwarf motherfuckers rings, but I need a little bit of skrill on the back end. I need a little taste. All right, you wet my beak, I give you a ring. And then he just like can start now. He like feels the mountain and he knows, like before he was like, I don't want to go deep. I don't want to go to the mithril. It's not worth it. Now that he has the ring, he's like, let's go. I want to hit my balls deep on this thing. I want the rim. I'm going to try to force my balls in. That's what I'm doing. And like during the third is like, you can't, or the fourth, I can't.
It's the fourth.
Anyway, Durin's just like, don't do it. It's going to hurt. You're going to squeeze your testicles and it's going to hurt really bad. He's like, I don't care. I'm going
I don't care. I need to go balls deep into something other than a thimble. I'm pretty sure that was
forces
a
it in, and
direct
as
quote.
soon as he's in, he puts his hands on the back of his head. He lets out a sigh, and he looks over at his son. He's like, "That's how you do it."
Yeah, I love that he was able to negate the mountain singers, which I thought that was stupid as fuck to begin with. Anyways,
I don't is that in the lore, mountain singers?
I've never fucking
I think
read that
it's
anywhere.
so weird. It's such a strange thing. I can't think of any mystical reason why that should be a thing. No magical reason why that should be a thing.
Well,
It's just like,
and again,
weird.
Like, just because I haven't read it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Like,
Right.
I've read a lot of Tolkien. I've barely skimmed the surface. Like, I mean, I've got probably like 6 or 8 books that are about this thick that are just on the history and like the backstory behind the lore that I've never gone through. So I can't say for certain that doesn't exist in his work, but it doesn't fit with the dwarves, because the dwarves, yes, they're a magical race. They're not humans, so of course they have certain abilities that a mystical race would have, but they are far more, dirt under the fingernails type of creatures, where they're going to do stuff with their hands versus their minds type of thing. So the idea of them having like these mystical singers that create stuff, or find holes for light, it doesn't make sense, because they feel like they are literally born from the core of the mountains that they come from. That's why they have such a tie with their ancestral homes, and why they rarely venture out from them, because they feel like they literally came from the stone of the earth. So it feels weird that they would have specific beings that are more in tune with something that they're all literally and metaphorically a part of. So it's weird to me.
Yeah, that, like, the reality is for me, I actually like Disa as a character.
Oh, same.
And I
really
like the
do.
actress, and I like Durin, and I like the father, the king Durin. And I love seeing Khazad-dûm. I think it's amazing looking. I thought the whole thing of like the light being snuffed out in the previous episode was ridiculous, because you're dwarves, so just break a hole. Like,
that was the thing. Like, that's not that big of a deal. And especially like with this episode, once Durin puts the ring on, he goes, dig here, and then starts whacking with the pickaxe. It's like, he didn't go that far. Like, he went maybe like a foot and a half into the fucking rock, and then there's sun. Like, come the fuck on. You guys can't feel the vibrations
like
in the mountain.
Capone thickness of rock.
Yeah, it seemed a little weird for me.
But why wouldn't you just go to the hole that was just covered over and push the boulder out of the way?
Right.
That's the most ridiculous thing. Our window was just covered. Well, let's just go uncover it. No, we can't do that. We must live in darkness.
Right. And then to like the first hole that he takes is like, oh, you can't do that. That's a load bearing wall.
Right.
Motherfucker, you are in a mountain. It is all load bearing.
I thought it was so weird. Like, none of it made any logical fantasy sense to me. I thought it was so stupid, but I did love him just going for it and just breaking a hole in the wall and just being like, "This is how you do it, boy." And he's just fucking moving about his head. And
next time your king tells you to dig, you dig, and then hands him the pickaxe. It's like, that's pretty fucking bossy.
He's literally putting his dick on the table at that moment. I'm just like, okay, good for you, man. And I'm okay. I'll take a look. Good for you. I love that aspect of it, and I love the corruption, the slow building corruption that this ring is being portrayed as having on him. And this is like, there's other dwarven settlements out there, and this is like a conversation my wife and I have had since watching this episode, about arguing about, well, where are these other damn dwarven settlements where these other rings are supposed to go to? Are they, like, once he gives it to them, are they not experiencing the same thing? Why are we just focusing on this one? I understand why, because it's the most important one, becomes Moria and stuff. But like, I want to see it corrupt more than one dude.
Yeah, that's part of my problem too. Is it's like, we don't, like, for instance, like with the Elven rings, like, we only see how it's affecting Galadriel. I mean, we get a little glimpse with the High King, but it's like, there's still another ring. Why aren't we getting the side of that person.
Was that the beard guy that had the third ring?
I don't fucking remember.
I can't remember
honestly.
who had the third ring, to be honest. Which is fucked up because we should.
Yeah, we should. We
Like,
absolutely
it should. Be a big
But like
point in the
these
story, 'cause
are
these are the rings of power. It's the name of
in
the
and out.
fucking movie.
Yeah.
Or the series. It should be like pointed out, but like it's never been addressed.
Mhm.
Other than the fist pump at the end of this episode 3 or 4 or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I like the sort of the whispering that the ring is doing in the ears of the people who hold them, and the twisting and distortions of their perceptions and reality and their personas, the choices that they're making, how it twists them. And we can't really trust Galadriel because she is clearly being influenced, and the king himself is clearly being influenced. Mm-hmm. And I love the idea of Sauron having so much power without doing fuck all.
Yeah.
Just like it just really makes him into like this otherworldly bad guy, which I think is incredibly important because that's who we see in the films later on. But like also in this era, you know, looking at Halbrand or whatever the fuck his name was, and like Anatar, they're just dopey fucking characters. I need a fucking devil to be doing this stuff, and this is the first time we got the hint of that.
Yeah.
And then we go to fucking Numenor, the place that I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and I love this place, and we get to see fucking mortals blessed by elves. And then they like usurp their queen and take the fucking what is that called? The globe.
I just had a brain fart.
Oh my gosh,
sorry,
it's in my head. Fuck me, it's like so goddamn important. What is it?
Yeah, that's all right.
Anyways, she has this globe that was gifted to them, the Numenorians, for their service in the last war or whatever. And then they're like using it as if it was a horrible thing. Like it's America. And they're like, we don't want this taco. This was made from Mexico. These are fucking rapists and murderers ripping it up.
Palantir.
It's the
Palantir. Yeah.
But the Numenorians themselves have extended lives because the elves gave it to them. They are like gifted because of the elves. So why would an elven gift be a bad thing?
Right.
They're literally exhibiting that in their fucking biological sentience. Like it made no sense to me, and I lost my shit like screaming at the TV.
And especially in the next episode, like they're talking about the Valar and shit. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck do you think elves are? Elves are the children of the Valar. Like, come on. You so worship these secondary angels, and then the people just under those secondary angels are the fucking elves. Who gave you this? Who gave you life? Who gave you next to immortality? And we don't like them. Harumph. But the Valar will judge you. Fuck you.
I would get it if it was just Arpharazon or whatever the fuck this douchebag's name is.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I hate him so much. We're supposed to, so he's doing his job. But if it was him doing it, like pushing that narrative, which he is in some parts, but it was fucking Elendil's daughter that brought the Palantir out. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? Like, I taught you to be an honorable Numenorian. This is who and what we are. Why are you acting like this is fucking MAGA? What the fuck is happening? It makes no sense. It's just so out there and like weird. And but okay, you need to make this sort of, you know, this title point with the Numenorians where they fall, and this is what you're putting it on. Okay, I'll accept that, even though I don't like it. But then we get the Pharazôn douche nozzle like taking over his cousin's fucking throne. It's a little too real for me to be able to comprehend and handle, because we're living in a time where that is like we've already lived through one administration that I really thought was like the worst thing in my lifetime. And I mean, I'm not alone in that, but some people don't see it that way. And it's a very real possibility to happen again. And so to see it in screen in any form actually happen, at the end of this episode, when that giant eagle showed up, I was convinced it was going to eat him.
Because that would have made sense.
was just like
they are one of the
now.
most mighty and noble races on Middle Earth.
Instead, it pulls out a fucking MAGA hat and flies off. Like, what the
fuck? Well, and okay, so that's how you interpret it. Is the eagle was just like, yeah, man, you're good. I got you, boo.
Yeah. I mean, that's
fuck them people on the other side of the border. I didn't take it that way. I took it as him being pissed off and being like, fuck this guy. I'm the fuck out of here. And then everybody else misinterpreted it. Now, I could be full of shit and you could be right, or we could both be full of shit. And it was just like, man, I'm fucking tired. I need to sit down for a second. Oh, hey, I can stop right there. These guys are always cool to me. It could have been something like that.
Anyone have any meat? No? All right, see you.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about that because it was so.
I hated it so much. It made me so angry.
It was so pointless. It didn't help anything. It didn't explain anything. And the thing is, like, the eagles are fucking sentient. They are intelligent. They speak.
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna have it show up and be like, fuck off, I'm leaving. Like, God, I struggle with this show.
He's like, whoa, just speak. I know you can speak. What the fuck? You're yelling at me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my wife's the best because she puts up with this shit. I was freaking out. I was losing my shit. How the fuck could that eagle endorse that motherfucker? I was like bringing it into like modern politics and everything. I was losing my mind.
You know, it's understandable.
Over this goddamn eagle not eating this fuckhead, which probably would make a delicious meal. He looks fatty, juicy.
Oh,
delicious.
Yeah, you know he's never worked a real job in his life. He's a fucking career politician.
And sugar and fats, which is everything I look for in food.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. There's medication to make that bearable.
This episode made me so. It made me understand and accept, and then it made me so angry at the end.
Yeah. They definitely pulled that off well.
So we need to talk about the very end with the memorial service thing, because this also made me scream. Because I think the eagle thing was the previous episode, and I was like sort of projecting on that, looking at the dude's name.
Was it?
But
I don't remember. I kind of watched everything.
Where there's like this memorial in this sort of sacred area, and then the Pharazone's friend or friend's kid comes in, and they have like a fight, and Elendil ends up murdering him, or Elendil gets blamed for having started the riot in the city, but ultimately it was this fucking douchebag that like killed this kid. And the whole time I was just like, kill him, just fucking kill him.
That's the thing. It's like, you're already fucked.
Yeah. There's no upside to not killing him.
The kid, he fucking shot a shot and he missed. You have his sword. You have his sword at his throat. Just a couple of inches and you fucking win.
Yeah.
Because you're going to prison regardless.
Yeah.
You might as well make it worth it.
No,
and then to be like, stand down, soldier. And then he gets stuck. And now, okay.
I was so mad.
This took me out of it because, I'm sorry, there's no fucking way in hell some douchey little politician kid is going to be able to smoothly just put that sword through that guy. He's having to go through his fucking spinal cord. He's having to go through his sternum. And for it to be that smooth and easy with his non-dominant arm because his dominant arm just got fucking broke. No. Absolutely not. Could he kill him? Yes. It's a sword. It's a fucking weapon. Could he kill him that easily? No. It bugged the fuck out of me.
It's so funny how different things bother us differently. You know, we like latch onto different aspects of it.
Uh-huh.
The whole time I'm thinking like Shakespearean, like tragedy. I'm just like, inevitably it had to have happened, but I'm so pissed that it fucking happened. And you're like, technically, it just not.
Yeah. I like reality and my sci-fi and my fantasy. Thank you very much. Yeah, he should have fucking off that kid. I understand why they didn't, but God.
Oh, I was so mad when he didn't just kill the kid. And I get it. You're a good guy, and especially with Elendil talking him down. You're a good guy. You're trying to do the good guy thing. But this is not a good guy world.
No.
I don't think there's ever been and ever will be a good guy world. And so that's why I like Game of Thrones with George R.R. Martin so much, is there is no good and bad. It's all morally fucking relative. You know, like people do horrid things because war. And that's the only explanation you get. And so, like, in this, if George R. R. Martin would have written it, motherfucker would have died. 100%. But because Tolkien's writing it, he dies.
Oh, okay. I'm going to stop you right there, sir.
Because the screenwriters who are adapting Tolkien's work writing it.
Thank you. Because this is not Tolkien. I am fucking sorry. This isn't even Christopher Tolkien, for fuck's sake. This is so far removed from that it's not even a joke. This is... I don't even know how to compare it to...
So none of this ever happened at all? Like in the... I mean, this is really granular, so they have to extrapolate on some stuff because the Silmarillion was like legends, right? It wasn't like detailed narrative.
The Silmarillion starts off as Genesis. So we literally get the creation of existence. Mm-hmm. And then it's towards like the last third of the book where it goes to different narratives of different eras. Like the fall of Melkor, the fall of Sauron, just little things here and there that eventually get expanded in other works. A lot of this shit, it's just them supposedly taking footnotes and stuff and being like, we can expand on this. This feels so far removed though from Tolkien's writing that it's hard for me. Like I said, with the next episode, it was easy because I went into it immediately going, I am not going to look at this as a Lord of the Rings property. Yeah. I am watching a fantasy show, and I'm going to accept it as a fantasy show. Yeah. A lot more bearable.
Well, let's get to that because we've beaten this dead horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else on this?
No, man. It really wasn't a whole lot. I should have stuck with the dwarves.
Chris, all I'm saying is when the road actually happens, I'm coming to your house. That's all I'm saying. Going to eat your body. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, like it or not, evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there, eat your friends, and be evil.
Hell yeah. And read some Cormac McCarthy.
Who?
I thought that's what you were talking about, the road.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that. I'm an idiot.
It's been a long